Hello, I'm John Weems, Head of Business Development with BPM, a top 50 US consulting and accounting firm. Thrilled to be with you here on our IPO Readiness Roadmap, where we speak with BPM experts who have been there and done that when it comes to working with founders and their executive teams to determine whether an IPO or perhaps another path is the right option for them. Today, I have Sven Jost, Head of BPM's International Tax Team and Transfer Pricing. A couple of things to know about Sven if you haven't noticed already. He is not a boring guy. He has a tiki bar in his house, though he is from Germany. Coors Light is a favorite beer. We can maybe talk about that a little bit. But in all seriousness, Sven brings a wealth of experience as a leader at Ernst & Young, at Oracle, and we're thrilled to have him here at BPM. Sven, welcome to the program today.
Thank you very much. Very excited to be on. And yes, a lot of Germans will very likely roll over in their graves. At least that's what my wife keeps on saying. When they know and hear that my favorite beer is Coors Light. But we'll leave it as that, John. We'll probably just get right into the IPO stuff.
It's all good. So Sven, let's start with a quick snapshot, especially some of our earlier stage founders may not know about transfer pricing. Certainly don't need to cover all the nuances, but give us a quick snapshot of your service profile, and then we'll transition into some success stories and make sure people leave with some good food for thought.
Yeah, fantastic. Yes, I'm an economist by trade, been in transfer pricing since I basically graduated. Focus is clearly on the transfer pricing side of things, the cross-border arrangements, your transfer pricing system model, right? Making sure it works effectively, meaning tax effectively, yet being transfer pricing compliant worldwide. We also have a sister practice, which is called economic consulting. By definition, a lot of people that are in transfer pricing are economists, and economic consulting is a lot broader, right? Does anything from sort of market assessments, right? Assessing markets, the size, the robustness of markets, hypothesis testing, scenario analysis, and economic forecasting. All of them, yes, they may come up as a company sort of evaluates, right, their path forward, including IPOs or other exit strategies, as you sort of evaluate your options that you may in many cases just do a little bit more qualitatively. And so where we come in here, John, right, on the economic consulting side is just a little more on, are the hard numbers out there, right? And the data that's available, do they sort of match your hypothesis of you going a certain path versus another?
Thank you, Sven. So let's start one of your clients, and we'll of course protect their confidentiality. But at least one of your clients had a successful IPO last year. You were part of the team that led them down that path. Kind of talk us through some of the considerations and ways that you helped them get there.
One of my clients that just went public last year, we've had a good relationship with and a strong relationship with for many years, right? So we basically helped them set up their transfer pricing model and system, right, 4 or 5 years ago, right? We were in touch with them. Other teams within BPM have been working with them on other matters, right, over this period of time. So we sort of knew what was coming, right? So you had a lot more time making sure you have your ducks in a row, right? Your annual documentation, you making sure that everything's there, everything works the way it's supposed to be working. We also helped a lot with sort of implementing the transfer pricing policies, right? So that when the audit happens, right, and when you get ready basically for your IPO, and it was EY that they had chosen as their auditor. It was all there. It was ready. They can easily reconcile. Hey, that's your policy, right? This is how you book it. It all sort of made sense. So a lot less stressful, right? You have the opportunity to change things as you sort of get ready, right, for the S1 and the audits and all the good stuff that sort of happens along the way. On the contrary, we have also worked with clients where we may have not had a long sort of standing relationship with. They maybe not even have a transfer pricing policy for that matter, right? And sort of come in more or less last minute. Bigger challenge there, as usual. The room for making adjustment and changes to past years is a lot more limited. You can still tweak the existing year, and you got to be a little bit more creative. It all works. We all make it work. We always make it work, right? Client's always right. And so we come in when we need to, but there's a clear benefit and being involved over a longer period of time rather than sort of last minute.
You had worked with a situation in which, in this case, it was EY, Big Four auditor. While BPM certainly is capable of being a one-stop shop, we know when it comes to an audit, there are independence concerns. Talk a little bit about how you collaborate with multiple service providers and kind of your philosophy when it comes to that.
Most of the time I actually know these guys, right? The transfer pricing world is not that big. You've come across sort of the same actors, right? Especially in certain niche industries, right? Biotech or whatever it is. But very collaboratively, I have not had any experience where I'd say, oh, they are so difficult to work with. Sure. They're not getting away from us. On the contrary, I think it's been very friendly. Sometimes, as I said, we've worked together before, so sure. We're helping each other, right? Rather than trying to throw each other under the bus. That just hasn't happened.
Sven, can you talk about any scenario in which, while working with a client, they decided that perhaps IPO was not the right route for them? They looked at another strategy based upon some of their international considerations.
Yeah, absolutely. And at the end of the day, the question is really, why do you want to be public, right? Is it truly is the desire just to raise more money more effectively, or is it reputation, right? Is it just this sheer size and other things that sort of matter? I actually have 2 clients of mine even that were public that went private, right? And in one case, it was a PE firm, right? That ultimately, purchased the company, right? They're clearly, I don't think that going public is the right path for everybody, right? Because you can get access to capital in other ways. And so what we oftentimes just simply do, and this is a little bit more maybe on the economic consulting side of things, right? But keeping things simply and just evaluating your options, right? What's your forecast? What does your forecast look like? What markets do you actually want to be in, right? That are for you the best markets, and then sort of obviously collaborating with our folks here on the international tax core side, right? The core guys, not the transfer pricing guys, evaluating the right strategy, right? What makes most sense internationally for your sort of operations, and how does that fit into your exit strategy?
Thank you, Sven. And as we come to a close, you talk a little about any trends that you are seeing out there, especially international considerations. I know our president recently had some things to share. May I comment on that from your perspective?
Yeah, look, I love being in the field, because what it seems like is every 4 years we have a big tax reform, right? And so it's likely going to happen again sometime this year. It's probably not going to be effective 1/1/21. It's probably going to be effective 1/1/2022, right? But yes, the corporate tax landscape, the transfer pricing landscape is just very fluid. It's evolving. There's so many initiatives also at the OECD level, right? Digital services tax, right? Brexit. There's so many moving parts that you've got to stay on top of these things, and wouldn't be surprised if maybe countries that were maybe a little less favorable over the last few years may become even more favorable again. And so I think maintaining sort of being on top of things, obviously, right? But also maintaining a structure and sort of a sense to be able to adapt is extremely important for no matter what it is, younger companies or mature companies. So it's always fun things happening.
Well, Sven, thank you very much for your time. I invite you to connect with Sven on LinkedIn, and perhaps in the not too distant future, you could even get together with him for a Coors Light, a cup of tea, or something even better than that. Absolutely. Please also follow BPM's channel on YouTube. Again, thank you for your time, and always feel free to reach out to us with additional questions. Thank you.